Platinum Dunes. Reading. Also, a movie lets us know up front we're gonna have to keep up with days and or dates and times and just all that. So the concept is, if you make a sound, the creatures immediately hear you and they attack and kill you. Knowing this, how did it ever get to the point where anyone was ever able to put these signs up? Are you telling me these people didn't make any noises while doing this? Sure, let your kid run unsupervised through this abandoned grocery store with all this shit on the floor. I'm sure he's not clumsy enough to make any noise. Let him frolic. It's so hard for kids to just be kids these days since they're getting eaten. Please notice the hearing aid. No, seriously, please notice it. Man, no one is very good at looting in this town, even when there were enough people to loot the shit out of it. There appears to be a lot of packages of candy and nuts available, and there are still plenty of drugs behind the pharmacy counter. I assume that's racist. Okay, off we go. We totally trust our son not to pick that rocket back up and do what kids normally do, which is to totally ignore their parents and take the rocket anyway. First off, the New York Post's front page would be more like, "President sounds off, turn your sound off," or "Simon says no one dare disturb the sound of silence," or "Sound found to compound the frowns." Second off, this newspaper basically says that the invasion was so advanced that they found out the problem was sound much too late to do anything about it. Yet the New York Post was still putting out newspapers, as if fully staffed. It's like they found out the problem was sound, and then the creatures ate the entire headquarters of the New York Post on the same day. Yeah, Reagan should know better than to give this kid a toy rocket and leave him behind with those tempting batteries within reach. But are Evelyn and Lee seriously not worried about where their two kids are? They walked out of the store 15 seconds ago, and despite the world of danger they're in, nobody's bothered to check if the kids are still with them. This is the absolute worst way to walk back home with your family in a world where the sound-sensitive creatures are lurking everywhere. You have the kid who's most likely to cause trouble bringing up the rear of this single-file line, out of sight of the parents. It's a wonder he didn't get killed sooner. Also, I'm wondering why everybody had to go on this trip anyway. If the parents were just going to let one of their kids run around the store without keeping an eye on him, what difference would it have made if Reagan babysat this kid at home? What exactly is the noise threshold here? They're clearly making some noise when they're walking around. There are f***ing leaves everywhere. And I know they yada-yada'd some sand in, but how could they possibly have gathered that much f***ing sand to pour everywhere? And how did they figure out how much noise they could make? Did they originally have like a family of 10 and lost a few when testing out theories? Kids. Now I've got to do f***ing math to figure out how many days it's been since Bo died. And f*** that. The Los Angeles Times would like everyone to know they can hear you. Also in this newspaper, you can get the racing results, because apparently racing was going on without anyone at the track getting eaten during this time. Also, I'm sure everything is being powered by a generator here. What with the electric company probably not in business anymore. But don't generators make noise? Even if you found a relatively quiet one, wouldn't it produce more decibels than a toy rocket? Also, just think about how many people have died going outside to pick up a paper that was going to let them know how to survive. And of course, Evelyn's pregnant because movie. But how irresponsible are these f***ing people? How do they even have quiet sex? Like men are capable of having sex without sobbing loud, so I hear. Also, Evelyn's baby bump brings up even more questions, like how do you keep a baby quiet? Even if you put the baby in a soundproof room until you can communicate with it and teach it sign language, you still have the problem of kids being kids, especially at an age when they don't understand the gravity of the situation. Sure, the kid would grow up learning sign language rather than speaking, but then they'd have to learn how to move without making noise and stifle all their crying. And you still have the problem you had with Rocket Man earlier. The kid could never go outside of that soundproof room for years. Totally get protecting yourself, but those kids are going to make an awful lot of noise when they pass out and crash to the floor from all the glue fumes. So, do the creatures not have the ability to smell either? Because that fire is definitely not a great idea if they do. The movie never says one way or another, but surely hearing isn't their only sense. Baked floor fish! The problem with a movie that shows us a room this well lit is that you wonder why they ever needed a f***ing lantern close by. This house is filled with electric lights all over the place, so this lantern is merely serving its purpose as an unnecessary troublemaker. Nearly impossible raccoons show up to be jump-scaring dicks just when Lee starts looking for creatures outside. Also, who cares if this noise was a raccoon and not a creature? Wouldn't the creature come running after this furry dumbass as soon as he screeched outside? Kids. How did he even acquire all this equipment? How many electronic stores could be within walking distance? And some of this stuff looks like you'd have to special order it. Nail shadowing. Also, I can see why this wooden staircase would need nails, because there are places where nails are necessary. But why the f*** is there a nail right in the middle of this step? Nowhere near anything that fastens the step to anything else on the staircase. What exactly was this nail nailing?
We're all right. We're all right, I promise.
Did Lee test this theory out himself one day? I mean, it makes sense that the waterfall would cover up the noise, but why take a chance? It should be noted that this girl who is hearing impaired is looking straight ahead, disregarding all those noisy, crunchy leaves. Remember, these kids are walking on their tippy toes around the house, trying to make sure they don't make any noise. But sure, this girl can walk over leaves and not get killed.
Do you blame her for what happened?
I would hope not. It's been a whole 400 and math. Conveniently, everyone is having their own little remember Bo moment as Lee and Marcus are having their conversation.
It was no one's fault.
Except that it was totally Reagan's fault. Ah! I guess this movie thought you were bored, so this random old guy will now scream about his dead wife so that we can see the creature do some murdering again. Kind of amazing it happened on the very day Lee took his son out in the woods for the first time. Oh wow, Evelyn's water broke at a super inconvenient time. That's surprising, said no one. You so hard, movie. Also, tetanus. We're about to see one of these things walking around the house, and these creatures have acute hearing, but they can't hear a breaker switch being flipped. Also, if these creatures have such acute hearing that they know exactly where a noise came from, why isn't this thing already down here searching for its dinner? Also, this monster was very quiet when it entered the house. Did it use the front door instead of smashing through a window? Every single time these creatures attack, they're in full-on f*** you mode, so it's kinda crazy that this creature was so polite, even if it didn't bother to knock first. Jesus, how long do these assholes investigate sounds? If their prey made a sound 3 minutes ago, how do they hope to find it if it's not making noise anymore? God damn it! I knew those aliens from Signs would somehow figure into this farmhouse horror movie. What the f*** led this asshole up here? Evelyn ran up the stairs while the creature was thrashing about in the basement. So what did it hear? Cool! She gave birth during the fireworks! That would cover up all the yelling and screaming, for sure. But how did she cut her own umbilical cord? Did she manage to take some scissors with her while she was running for her life? Also, Evelyn's water broke like 10 minutes ago. She went through the quickest labor, birth, and getting the baby to sleep in the history of childbirth. All because the movie wants her to live. F***ing movies. Look guys, I'm not gonna run silently out in the open when there are blind murder demons lurking about. So instead, I'll run much louder through the corn, where I can't be seen by those same murder demons, who are blind and have awesome hearing. I guess it's like steering into the skid when you're driving on ice? Yeah, you didn't think about that, did ya? I mean, the economic burden of having a third child, of course. You've been planning for a baby for 9 months and couldn't figure out a proper door for your hide-a-baby room? I know you can't make noise, so stuff like hammering is out of the question. Unless you've got a bunch of fireworks to shoot off one day. Ah, well. This baby in a box wearing an oxygen mask thing is definitely going to work for this movie. But realize this would need to happen almost every day. With, let's give a conservative estimate of 1 in 4 chance that the creature shows up anytime the baby makes noise. That means a full quarter of your year is hiding out down here with only a mattress between you and a bloodthirsty creature. Also, this baby is going to have some traumatic childhood memories to get over. Hopefully there are some therapists left when he's older. Okay, so while we're being total dicks to this movie for no good reason, it must be said that the use of sound and the lack thereof is amazing. Also, any movie that is so tense that it makes assholes feel the need to be quiet in a theater is doing something right. So we're going to remove 5 cents. Sure, this ear thing is convenient as f***, but at least it's not water that ends up being the savior. Still, sin for the convenience.
You're safe. They can't hear us.
Okay, so now the movie is probably cheating on the amount of sound these creatures can hear. From any random spot in the woods, they can apparently hear a picture frame crash in a basement, but they couldn't hear any of the noise down here because, yeah, you soundproofed it, but you've got a f***ing mattress over the opening. I agree mattresses could provide some soundproofing, but we're talking about creatures with hearing ability that is 1,053% better than humans. Congratulations, that jump scare just cost you your life. Oh wait, it didn't? Damn. How good are these creatures hearing again? Sure, this water shows up right as Lee starts walking away, and that's the movie's explanation for him not seeing it, but how does he not hear it? Good thing Evelyn doesn't snore or make any other bodily noises when she sleeps. Speaking of which, we could have a whole discussion on how the f*** this family trained themselves not to make any body noises while asleep. Here's some f***ing bull right here. Earlier in this movie, Lee and Marcus were yelling like a bunch of assholes behind a waterfall because it was safe and but now that the creature is directly next to loud water, he can hear half a mile away? Little known fact, this movie was originally about killer corn, and they decided to leave one of the scenes in. Wow, earlier when that door fell into the silo, I thought that was terrible luck for Marcus, as he almost got smashed by it. But now I realize it was great luck, because it's like the headboard in Titanic that saves, well, at least Rose. I would have removed all the sins if he had pulled out some other person from the core. Like, this is the perfect time for a Matt Damon cameo. Sure, it would have ruined all the suspense, but Matt Damon! How the hell did this monster jump into the silo with only one opening into it that they were looking at without being seen? And especially heard, at least by Marcus. You think this dickhead climbed up a silo without making some noise? Does it know it's in a movie called A Quiet Place? If they were sinking before getting on top of the broken silo door, why are they not sinking now? Like, they would sink, right? But the door would stay above the core. Hey, he left a nice human-sized hole to walk out of. That sure was nice of him. Like, hasn't this movie broken its own rules? These creatures are blind with super hearing. But what exactly did Lee do here that attracted the attention of this thing? And why was it sitting on the top of this shed anyway?
Hey guys, I'm a big dumb alien creature. I got these big teeth and claws, but I'd rather just sneak up on you when the movie needs suspense.
Oh no, the T-Rex found Lex and Tim. Dr. Grant, quick, distract it with a road flare. Great moment and all, but I guess this creature has a profound sense of drama to allow it to happen right after it heard a noise that usually causes an instant murder-death kill. Man, how upset is she gonna be when she realizes later if she had just left her earpiece setting the way it was, she could have saved her father. I guess he's making a sacrifice, and that's what's important here. But I'm kind of surprised he didn't want to at least try to hit the monster with his axe. But, you know, sometimes when you're playing Dark Souls, you just realize it's impossible and give up. Oh, are the creatures gone? Is it all over? Man, it's great when someone can sacrifice themselves and all the creatures just leave. Wait, that's not what happened? Then why are they risking all this emotion outside where there are still creatures lurking about? Look, before I didn't say anything about Evelyn not doing anything about this nail because she was giving birth at the time, and I hear that's a high-stress event. Also, she was being chased by murder aliens, which is a close second to childbirth. But now she's been safe in the house for a whole day. And at the very least, put a Krylon cap over that thing so everyone knows where it is and can avoid it. Reagan does not know about the nail, but as usual, none of her parents love her enough to tell her that shit. What exactly brought this thing here? They didn't make a sound. Guess these guys are sentient and can remember where they heard noises before, and at least can make out that humans live around here. But now this creature's just being a dick. There's no reason for it to be here other than the movie needed a revelation about them at the end. So she's not about to have a Kaiser Soze moment and save the day, is she? Yep, guess she is. Kinda hard to believe that the military or anybody who ever tried to shoot one of these things never found this easily detectable weak spot to kill them. You might be thinking, well, they need the hearing aids feedback to weaken them before they expose the weak spot. And I'm telling you, this is not what the movie showed us earlier before Reagan started making noise. You know what that means. The security cameras are coming back online just in time for everyone to realize that there are more creatures coming. And everyone can get in the classic hearing aid distraction Annie Oakley position. I do love this ending. We got some badasses in here. Remove a sin, movie.
30 inches of thigh slapping, blood pumping, nuclear brain damage.
Where are they?
I will find him.
Promise me. You will protect them.
I promise I will never die.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, or as our brothers to the south call you, Jesus, we thank you so much for this bountiful harvest of Domino's, KFC, and the always delicious Taco Bell.
Stay out of Malibu, Lebowski! Stay out of Malibu, deadbeat!
Oh, hell no!
I immediately regret this decision.